Welcome to Linux Lite Learning. I get a lot of people writing into me and saying, "Hey Spat, how do I get this Windows game working in Linux? How do I get this particular Windows app working in Linux?" And I try my best to point them in the right direction, but a number of people seem to be having a lot of difficulty with this. So I'm going to show you the proper way to install Wine in Linux Lite today. And I'm also going to cover a few other features in Wine that I've rarely discussed. And all of that begins right now on Spatry's Cup of Linux. Okay, let's begin. Now, if we were to open up the Synaptic Package Manager, you will see that the latest version of Wine that you can get in Precise Penguin by default, or Linux Lite, is Wine version 1.4. Now, there is an easy link here under System, Install Additional Software, and Install Wine. This is the version that it is going to install. 1.4 is the stable release of Wine for Precise Penguin, but guess what, kids? There's a new stable release. It's version 1.6, and we're going to get it. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. First, let me go ahead and minimize or close this because we're really not going to install the old version of the software. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my page here on YouTube because today's focus of the show is not on physically installing a Windows game or a Windows app. I have tons of videos where I show you how to do that. And to access this information, let's maximize this page here. We will scroll down here to playlists. Okay? And you'll see it's right here. And of course, you can arrow right and you should be able to pull it up here. Looks like Wine is a much older playlist that I have on here, but I do have newer material in it. Okay. It is right here, Wine. Run Windows apps and games. And if you click on this playlist here, you'll see a listing of different things. I will, I think in this first episode I show you how to run The Witcher, and I might have something else going on in there. I tell you how to back up your Wine directory. And of course, some of my really old videos where I'm installing stuff in Wine and I got things working. So, lots of good stuff here indeed. Okay, let's move on to the next part in the exercise, and that is we're going to be adding a PPA to the system. A PPA is a personal package archive. When we add this to the system, what will happen is it will give us an opportunity to add an additional repository, and this is for the latest version of Wine. I'm going to open up a terminal here. Okay, and let's position this somewhere so that we can see what we're doing. I'm going to put this up in the middle here. I'm going to put this always on top. Alright, now, this link will be in the show notes, or actually I'll just put the commands in the show notes. That way you can just copy and paste this information into your terminal. Okay, first we're going to copy this line here. Right click and copy on that. And I'm going to issue this command, sudo add-apt-repository. Alright. And then I'm going to paste in what I just copied. Alright, it's going to ask for the password. Enter to continue adding it. Sudo apt-get update. Sudo apt-get install Wine. Okay, all of its dependencies will be installed. I'm going to go ahead and close the browser here. I really don't need it. And we'll move the terminal over. because we need to wait till that finishes. Okay, while this is installing, I figured I'd take this time to mention to you guys that I'm considering doing Cup of Linux full time. And in order to do this, I'm going to need your support. As many of you may or may not be aware, my internet connection is rather slow, and sometimes uploads tend to fail. And I've even had issues during the zoo crew where the internet would cut out and that sort of thing. And that requires a faster internet connection, possibly a different service altogether. Additionally, I've had a lot of people request that I start uploading video in 1080p, which is impossible to do with my present hardware and internet connection. So some of you may ask, how can I support Spatry's Cup of Linux? It's very simple. Just click the coffee cup that you see on the screen and visit my channel. And while you're there, you will see a link at the very top of the page where I have all of my graphics displayed that says, please support Spatry's Cup of Linux. If you click that link, it will take you to my PayPal page where you may make a donation of any amount. The more, the merrier, I always say. And if you don't have any dollars to throw my way, there is another way you can support Spatry's Cup of Linux. Please consider disabling your ad blockers anytime you're viewing my videos. This will allow my videos to earn more of a revenue. And the reason I have ads on my videos is for the simple reason that I put a lot of time into these videos, and it's nice to be able to get a small return for the time that I invest in putting these videos together for you guys. So please consider disabling the ad blockers. And thank you for considering to support Spatry's Cup of Linux. Okay, it looks like our install is finished, so let's go ahead and close our terminal now and move along. Now, we have a new link on our menu called Wine. And then from here, this is where all of your programs will be placed when you install items. You can browse your virtual C drive. You can configure Wine. You can uninstall Wine software from here. And you have Wine tricks here. Now, this is the trick. The key to getting your Windows software or games running effectively in Wine depends on a number of factors. Now, in previous Wine episodes, I just installed some games from game CDs, and a lot of times those game CDs will have the necessary dependencies that are required. But maybe you might purchase a game online that you download and you have no clue whatsoever what you need to have installed with it. A good example would be GOG.com or Good Old Games, because I purchased tons of games from there, mostly because a lot of those games run very well in VirtualBox, but I've also had success getting them working under Wine. So the trick is having a good Wine configured. So first, let's open up our web browser and let's do a sample search for a program that you may want to get running. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Firefox here. All right, and I'm going to pull up Wine HQ. Now, many times you guys have seen me say on the channel, if you visit the Wine HQ website, this is what I mean, because I can't type links into the comments field. But you will see the latest stable version is Wine version 1.6, and we've got that latest version installed. And the way to find that out is, all you just do is open up a terminal and type in Wine --version. Okay, and it tells you that you're running version 1.6. Now, the reason I'm having you install this version is because I've had the most success with this one. I've got a slew of things running natively on this. Plus, in the other videos, I have other really cool things. I can't wait till this PPA starts switching and pushing the development version, though. I've always liked the development versions of Wine, simply because they bring new features, but also sometimes there are some niggles with it. Regressions may appear where a program that may have worked in version 1.6 may not run as well in 1.7, or there may be some bugs and that sort of thing, but you get a taste of the latest and greatest, and I've very rarely seen regressions in most of the software I've run. The last time I saw a regression was from 1.2 that was out, and I was running 1.3 of Wine, and I had some issues with software running, but I haven't seen it since, because when 1.4 was out, I was running the development version 1.5. See the picture? Even, stable, odd, not stable. But I found that you know, the development version seemed to work very well for me, so I always recommend trying them. Okay, let's say you have an application you want to run. In this case, let's do a search for Photoshop. Alright, and then you don't want the links in the yellow area here, but you will see there are tons of results on WineHQ for getting Photoshop working. Alright, and you will need to do a search for whichever version you want. In my case, I decided, okay, let's have a look at CS5. So I'm going to click the link here. Alright, and what you are looking at now is a bronze install. Somebody who had Ubuntu 12.10 Quanto Quetzal. Okay, that's this one here. That is the current view. And it basically gives you an idea of what it is you're going to have to do. It tells you you can't install it, but there is a workaround. So you're going to actually have to read these instructions in order to get it working. But let's say it's a game that you want to get working. So let's do a search for Call of Duty. All right, and then we have, well, which game do you want? Do you want version 4 Modern Warfare? Okay, well, it appears here that people have had mixed results, but they're all good. We've got people who were running version 1.0, which is the retail DVD collector's edition. They had a silver rating on this. The 1.4 Call of Duty update 1.4 has a platinum rating. That means they were able to install it and everything worked without any problems, no bugs whatsoever. Okay, and we have a Steam version which gets a gold rating. Maybe they might have had an issue getting that working. Let's have a look at it and see. Okay, it's telling us he's had issues with this. A few things are not working. Installing DirectX will fail, but the game still plays. Okay, so it does have some information here. Now, I don't know what software you're going to try and run, but this is where you'll go. But let's just assume for a moment here that you have a game that requires a few things. Well, then this is where we're going to go into Winetricks. Now, Winetricks is your best friend, especially when you are not using any third-party software to do anything in Wine. Oh, by the way, the first time you're using Wine here, you will see the Wine configuration is going to pop up. It's going to ask you if you want to install Mono and all the other stuff. Probably be a good idea to get those installed. Now, obviously, the first thing that's going to pop up is it's going to say, what do you want to do? You can view help, you can install an application, install a benchmark, install a game, select the default Wine prefix, enable a silent install, or show broken apps. Okay, I always like to select the default Wine prefix. Okay, would you like to help Wine development? Of course you do. That's why you run Linux, right? So this will basically transmit some data over to the Wine developers and that sort of thing. But if you don't want that functionality, you can press no. Okay, now, here are some things you might want to do. Your games might need fonts, so you're going to probably want to install a font maybe. Maybe you need to install a Windows DLL or component. That is actually the first place you need to start. So, with install a Windows DLL or component, press OK. Now, we have tons of things that you can load in here. It's not necessary to install everything on this list. Only what you need to get that particular game or program running. Personally, I have most of my software and games in the default Wine directory, and I have a good number of these installed, but not everything. Just what is necessary to get my applications and games running. So you will see that we have like Direct D3D 10, okay, from the DirectX distributable. There's even a D3D X11. Now, still, DirectX 10 and 11 support really isn't quite there yet, so you might have issues trying to get any games or programs with DirectX 10 or 11 working. But if you are able to get them working, put them in the space below and let me know. But you got a lot of Direct 3D stuff here. Maybe you have a game that requires Direct Play. Okay, that's for playing, you know, some video files and that sort of thing. You might need .NET. Now, I can tell you right now that .NET 2 fails quite often. So, but I do know for a fact that .NET 4 does work well. I don't know if they've got any fixes for that coming up yet, but we'll see. All right. Gecko will install. That usually installs by default, though. Okay, but you might need MS XML as a dependency of some of your programs. VC runtimes, VB runtimes. So these are little things. So if you install a program and it's not working, it's giving you an error or just crashing, that's something you're going to need to do is go to the software manufacturer's website and read the system requirements for the software. What does it need? Does it need VB runtimes? Does it need, you know, any of these things that you can have Wine Tricks put in for you so that you can get that software working. These are critical, and I can tell you 90% of the time this has fixed problems for me with getting problematic Windows software running. Now, mind you, even though there are a number of applications that I was able to get to run, that doesn't mean everything is going to work. Yes, Wine is a great utility for getting those applications and games, but not everything works on it, unfortunately. But that's why we have fabulous alternatives to many of the popular Windows software out there. And while they may not be as feature-rich as the Windows counterparts, they are pretty, you know, they're pretty good for most people that are out there. Okay, and then of course, fonts. And you will see there are a ton of fonts you can install here. Go ahead and install all of them. You might need them. And interestingly enough, once you've installed these fonts, I believe you can use these in your Linux system as well. Okay, you can run Wine CFG. You can run regedit. You can run your task manager. You can run the command line shell. Browse files. Or if you mess something up and you want to start over, you can delete all data and applications inside the Wine directory and start over again. I know I've had to do that a few times. At any rate, Wine Tricks is your friend. This will help you get pretty much everything you're going to need for your dependencies to get those programs working. And if it's a Platinum, hey, more power to you, because, you know, all you have to do is just run the exe and the Wine loader will automatically pick it up, install the program for you, and that sort of thing. At the end of the day, you really need to make sure that you make Wine HQ and Wine Tricks your friend. A lot of times when you're looking through the solutions to getting programs working on WineHQ, you will actually see terminal commands for wine tricks. Let me take a moment to show this to you. By opening up a terminal, all you have to do is just type in wine tricks and the name of the program you want to install. .NET 40 in this instance. And you will see commands like this being shown on WineHQ. So I just want there to be an understanding that this is what you will be doing. And as you can see, what WineTricks is doing from the terminal is it's actually downloading that software, and it's going to install that for you to use in your wine directory. And what will happen is, once this finishes downloading, then a pop-up window will appear like a Windows installer, and it will give you the instructions for installing this, as we'll see. Now, just because you launch .NET from the terminal doesn't mean that everything that runs from it will pump out from the terminal. So, yeah, I've read the and accept the license agreement. Yes, send information about my experiences to Microsoft Corporation. I don't think so. And then, of course, it's going to install, and you can see that it's given us errors as it's installing, but it looks like it's going okay. Gosh, I hate waiting for .NET. Why didn't I pick something that was going to be quicker? Now, in my wine playlist, you will see some videos on Play on Linux and Vineyard. Now, I'm not actually using those softwares anymore. Namely for the reason that I've been able to get everything working with just Wine and WineTricks. Vineyard is no longer supported, but if you wish to follow the tutorials there, you can give it a try. It was a great front end for Wine while I was using it. And for those of you who require support, I recommend you check out CodeWeavers. And there is a link to that here on the site. I did a search for CodeWeavers and I was able to find it, but they actually have a link on the page for supporting. Because if you wish to support the Wine project, getting a supported version of Wine from CodeWeavers may be more to your liking, because this also has proprietary code. Now, personally, I think I've had just as much luck with Wine as I have had with the CodeWeavers crossover. This is a paid version, but it does support the Wine project. So if you do need a supported version, you might want to check this out, because then, you know, if they get enough people that request application X to run, they'll actually get their team to work on it and possibly get that application or game working for you. Alright, well, that's all I have on this topic. So any questions, please go to WineHQ. That is where you're going to find out any answer on any application that you may want to get running. Visiting the manufacturer's website will also give you some clues as to some of the additional software you will need to install in your Wine directory to get that application running, such as DirectX, you know, NVIDIA Physics may be required, you know, little dependencies like that. Also, installing any dependencies from the actual games CD may also get you profit. I'll see you in the next Linux Lite learning video, and that'll be coming up soon.